guys, as you can see, we're back down in the bar, and before we go any further, I want to thank you guys because this is a new segment doing the Monday morning memories, and the last one we did, Remember My Cousin Sal, was by far the most watched one we've done, and I just want to thank you guys for all the support and everything. And well, Sal would want us to continue on with the memories, so here's your Monday morning memory from Pugliese Speed Shop. Now, to the untrained eye, it would look like I'm actually doing something like decorating down here or something, because there's two giant pieces of furniture, right? Like we got the coffin shelf, and then the chair that looks like, Count Dracula himself used it. But Megan's actually cleaning her craft room, and I get the leftovers, right? So we got to figure out where. I love them both. I think they're both awesome. And I definitely need more shelving because I got a lot of crap down here. So we got to figure out where to put it and how to set it all up. Because I'm sure you figure this out, guys. A lot of this stuff, right, looks like it came from a flea market somewhere, right? I mean, probably because it did, right? It's like, this is all thrift store stuff, yard sales, flea markets, swap meets, all that kind of stuff. We got some local art down here too. That's kind of cool. Like, well, you guys have actually been there one time. We took the FXR out. It's just, just kind of tells a story of my memories, which is why I decided to do the memories down here. Now I'm thinking about flea markets, right? And I was flipping through the book. This is my dad's book. And I remembered back when we had a big old step van that replaced another van because we had a flea market stand. I think these are the only two pictures we got of this thing. And it strikes a very certain memory in my head, along with a couple of these pictures here. There's me going to prom. I totaled that car. We'll tell you that story another time. Yeah. You guys see something else here? That's me back in the 80s. There's my brother Joe. There's my brother Joe sitting on the hood of the car he fixed with a hammer. There's my brother Joe in the first car he wrecked. Yeah, he was about that size. There's Joe in my Jeep. The guy's hamming it up all the time, but that's not what this is about. Let's talk about that van. Now, you're probably wondering, what kind of cool memory could that spark, right? Well, funny enough, that van is the first motor I ever changed in my entire life. But to tell you that story, I got to tell you the rest of the story, right? So, in the 90s, in the Poconos, specifically Bushkill, Marshalls Creek area, if you did any kind of shopping, you went to the flea market. This place was huge. It was something like one of the places like you'd go to almost like a weekend Carlisle. Like every weekend was another. Guys, I can't even tell you how far this thing spanned. It was indoors, outdoors. It was out in the parking lot, and that's where everybody's like first job was. Maybe not everybody's. My brother Anthony's was. He was slinging comforter sets. Then I worked for a guy over there doing car washes in the parking lot while these people were shopping. I mean, it was the craziest thing, but it was the 90s, and you did whatever you wanted, right? So, my dad was an opportunist. He had a guy who knew a guy that knew where to get clothes at a good price. That's all I'm going to say on that. All right. So he would go in to, I think Staten Island, Brooklyn, somewhere around there, during the week, and he would come back with all his clothes. This was like when you had, we started off with like just regular kids' clothes, nothing crazy. But then, like I said, it was the 90s, right? Starter jackets, warm-up suits. That's where the money was. And then he knew a guy who knew of a guy who heard of a guy that had them. And he scooped up a bunch. And guys, we were cleaning up, right? So it's like every Saturday and Sunday, and sometimes on the 3-day weekends, we'd set up the stand. And it got big quick. So we need a van. Like, we were using my Jeep, and that didn't really, we ran out of room quick. So he got a van. He bought a van. It was like a 78, I think, Ford, Econoline, half ton, no big deal. In fact, it was actually a Ross Perot, like campaign van. So it said down the side, had like red, white, and blue stripes, all white, had red, white, and blue stripes. It was like honesty, integrity, responsibility, and like whatever, all the campaign stuff. And we took off some of it, but whatever. It was a rust bucket, but it looked clean. So he picked, I think, maybe $500 for this thing. Ran good. And we were running with that thing, and he made some. My dad would always think of ways to do something, like try and make it easier. So we had these racks set up in there, and to hold all the clothes, so we could hang them up. They'd be nice. And then he made this other thing so that we could put the racks that we were going to hang them up. He went to some clothing store, was going to business, and he bought a bunch of the circle racks and stuff. And we set that all up. We had a tent and everything. It was a pretty good setup. Well, this van, it ran good. It didn't stop so good. It did at first, and then I don't remember what part broke, but it didn't stop no more. The brakes went out. My dad didn't want to put any money into a $500 rust bucket, so he's like, we'll just take it easy. Right? And I'm like, what? In fact, I told this story recently because my sister was complaining. She was like, can you believe Dad wanted me to drive a car that had a check engine light on? I says, yo. When I was a kid, we drove this van, and I was like, Dad, it doesn't have any brakes. And he said, just drive it down there at night. There's not as many people on the road. And I mean, I got to tell you, it worked. So clearly we might have been raised, they take it easy on the girls. But anyways, we outgrew that van. And my dad, being the opportunist, was at my mom's boss's house. And he had that step van on the side of his house. Apparently needed a motor. And it was sitting over there. And he was like, "We want for that van." And the guy's wife was like, "Get it out of here. I don't care what you do." So we didn't, and I don't know if it was just us, but back then nobody had a trailer. We just used a tow bar and whatever we had that might have had a tow hitch on it and dragged everything around. So we get in my Jeep, the Cherokee I told you guys about. We put the tow bar on it, and we're driving this thing. We're dragging it. It's probably like 20 miles, 30 miles. Back roads, up and down. Like, guys, we lived at a ski resort. So that there was, there was a couple hills, right? And my dad's like, "I'll drive. I don't want you to." I said, "Okay." Now, mind you, this is right after we did a bunch of body work on the Jeep and painted it. So it was looking really good. We're coming down a hill, and I see my dad look in the rear view and eyes, like his eyes open. Oh man! And he looks at me, he's like, "Sorry about this, y'all." And I said, "Sorry about what?" Boom! I'm like, "What the hell?" He gets it. The tow bar came loose, so it's just the chains back there, and he's getting in front of this thing to keep the guys. Jeep Cherokee, friggin' step van, right? Like UPS style, just beating the ever-loving crap out of this Jeep. And I'm like, "Oh God, this is terrible." He gets it stopped. He puts it on the bumper, pulls it over, wait till the bottom of the hill. We get over. He's like, "Oh, okay." How there was only one little dent is beyond me. But we hook everything back up, torque all right, let's see how this works. Let's go. And we make it home, no problem. And he's a truck driver and stuff, like tractor trailers and stuff. The guy can back up anything. With the tow bar, that's not an easy feat, but he backed it in. You guys saw it in the picture. It was backed into the driveway. And he says, "Well, we just got to put a motor in this thing, and we'll be good." Now, you guys know no hot rodder, no matter what they're doing, can just put a motor in something. You got to do, right? So we end up cleaning this thing up, painting the wheels, the hubcap, just making everything look super nice, right? It's just really, really clean. Power wash inside of it. We set up, rather than the kind of makeshift stuff we had before, we had racks going down this whole thing with all the clothes. He did an awesome job, guys. He could really set some stuff up. So I don't know if you could see in the picture. We'll put it back up here. But do you guys see any asphalt or concrete or anything like that? No, you don't, because we had a gravel driveway, and it was straight-ish, right? You know, kind of level, but it kind of be on a slant, you know. And we're going to change the motor here. Now, I have never done this before. My dad probably did a million and a half. So it was like, for him, it was old hat. For me, I'm like, how's this thing going to roll? And we went and borrowed or rented an engine hoist because we didn't own one. But, and if you guys probably saw the episode we did pulling the motor out of the van, where we cut the whole front and pulled it out that way. That's not how you do it. You take the doghouse off, you pull it, and you bring it out the side door, which is what we did with this one. Now, it wasn't like a huge, you know, it had inline 6 in it, and he's like, well, let's get a little bit bigger inline 6. So we had a 292 we put in this thing. It did not go easy. I learned some new words that weekend, and I think this thumb, I got a little click in it, didn't do that before. It didn't go well. But we had to get it done. So we got it in, and I mean, we had some. We didn't try to roll it on the gravel because we're not complete idiots, right? We had some plywood down, and we're trying to. You guys have probably all tried this at one time. You know, just that's the only time I've tried it. I'll tell you that. But we got it in, got it all set up, time it in, everything. It's like, I remember sitting there, I was like, it's running good. I'm like, all right, sweet, okay, good. And I'm looking, and the exhaust manifold is glowing red. I'm like, hey, Pop, does that usually get that hot? Oh, shit. So he shuts it off. We stabbed the distributor 180 out. This happens. Now, mind you, this was February, right? In the Poconos. So it was like really nice weather. I don't think I felt my thumb when it got smashed because, well, not till later that night, because it was about, I don't know, 5 to 7 degrees out or something. But we had to get it done, guys. We had to get it done, and we did. And I don't know. He probably junked that van. Actually, no. Knowing my dad, he bought it for $500. He probably sold it to somebody for $1,500. But he did. I remember giving him a hard time with the Ford van, the one with no brakes. He fixed the brake, put a mass cylinder, whatever he did, and made it pass inspection to sell it. I was like, just the nerve of this guy, right? So anyway, we had that van for the rest of the time. We had the flea market stand, which was a few years, and my brother Anthony is quite the salesman. I was better at going and getting food. So stick with what you're good at. It was a project that my mom's boss, old Bob there, was never going to get done. So everybody won. My dad got a free van. Bob got his yard cleaned out. I got a whole lot of experience on how to pull a motor and put one in on gravel. And I learned that you want to make sure you're on a compression stroke, which, ironically, the first one I did by myself, I did the exact same thing. That's a story for another memory, but yeah, that's something a lot of people didn't know. We had a flea market stand, and we owned a step van. Thanks for watching, guys.